The houses here are beautiful.
I know, it's so peaceful.
I'm glad we came.
Chào bố, chào mẹ.
Chào các cháu.
Chào các cháu nào.
Mừng các cháu đến nhà.
Hello, dear viewers. In today's story, we follow the emotional journey of a successful CEO during the Lunar New Year reunion. On his way back to the city to celebrate with his family, surrounded by the busy rush of people preparing for the holiday, he suddenly realizes that his heart is filled with concern for Tieu Lac, the young woman who has stayed behind alone at the remote farm. Unable to feel at peace, he makes an unexpected decision to turn the car around and go back for her. What begins as sincere worry soon becomes something much deeper. He invites Tieu Lac to return to the city with him to celebrate the new year with his family and officially introduce her to them. It is not just an act of protection, it is a quiet declaration of the feelings growing in his heart. During their journey back to the city, beneath the sparkling lights and festive atmosphere, two hearts slowly open to one another, marking the beginning of a hopeful and beautiful new chapter. If you enjoy heartfelt, romantic, and emotional love stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episodes. Your support is the greatest motivation for us to continue bringing you meaningful and touching stories. Thank you for watching, and we wish you a joyful and prosperous new year. The highway leading back to the city was crowded with cars, buses, and motorbikes, all rushing home for the Lunar New Year. The air felt different at this time of year, filled with anticipation, relief, and the quiet joy of reunion. Inside the back seat of his luxury car, the CEO sat in silence, his sharp eyes fixed on the endless stream of red taillights glowing ahead. Fireworks advertisements flashed on giant billboards, and every passing vehicle seemed to carry families eager to return home. He should have felt the same warmth in his chest. After all, a grand family dinner was waiting for him at his parents' mansion. His mother had personally called to remind him not to be late this year. His father had arranged an intimate gathering with close relatives and business partners. Everything was prepared perfectly, as it always was. And yet, instead of comfort, there was a restless ache in his heart. His thoughts kept drifting back to the countryside, to the quiet farmhouse surrounded by golden fields and the scent of hay. Tieu Lac was still there. She had insisted on staying behind to take care of the animals and make sure everything was in order before the holiday. She had smiled when she told him not to worry, saying she was used to simple New Year celebrations. But the more he thought about it, the heavier his chest felt. The farm was peaceful, yes, but also isolated. The roads were emptier at night, security was weaker, and there had been rumors of thefts in nearby areas. He had dismissed those concerns earlier, convincing himself that she would be fine. Now, sitting comfortably in a climate-controlled car while she might be alone in the cold countryside, he felt something close to guilt. He loosened his tie slightly, his fingers unconsciously tightening against the leather seat. Why did the image of her standing alone in the yard under dim lantern light disturb him so deeply? Why did the thought of her spending New Year's Eve without laughter or family make him uneasy? The answer came to him quietly but firmly. Because she mattered. This was no longer simple responsibility or professional concern. It wasn't about being a boss ensuring the safety of an employee. It was personal. The idea of her being vulnerable, even for a moment, was something he could not accept. "Turn the car around," he suddenly said. The driver glanced at him through the rearview mirror, surprised. "Sir, we're almost halfway to the city." "I know," he replied calmly, but his tone left no room for argument. turn back to the farm. The car slowed, then carefully merged out of the heavy traffic before making a decisive U-turn at the next available exit. Outside, vehicles continued flowing toward the city, unaware that one man had just chosen a different direction, chosen someone over convenience, over tradition, over expectation. As the scenery gradually shifted from bright commercial districts back to darker country roads, his breathing steadied. The tension in his chest eased, replaced with clarity. He stared out at the open fields now touched by the soft glow of the setting sun. For the first time that day, he felt certain. He wasn't just going back because he was worried about security. He was going back because he wanted her by his side. This new year, he didn't want to celebrate surrounded only by crystal chandeliers and formal toasts. He wanted to see her shy smile under festive lights. He wanted to know she was safe, warm, and no longer alone. And perhaps, if courage allowed him, he would take this opportunity to bring her into his world, not as someone who worked for him, but as someone he was beginning to care for deeply. As the car sped toward the quiet farm once more, the CEO leaned back against his seat. The city lights faded behind him, but strangely, his heart felt brighter than ever. When the black car finally pulled up in front of the farmhouse gate, Tieu Lac was standing in the courtyard, carefully hanging red lanterns along the wooden fence. The golden light of late afternoon wrapped around her small figure, and a faint breeze lifted strands of her hair. She froze when she recognized the familiar car. She hadn't expected him to return. Moments earlier, she had been telling herself that it was perfectly fine to spend the new year here. She had done it before. The animals needed feeding, the greenhouse required monitoring, and someone had to ensure the farm remained secure. She had convinced herself that quiet simplicity was enough. But seeing him step out of the car, still dressed in his formal coat, his expression serious yet unmistakably concerned, made her heart skip. "Why are you back?" she asked softly, walking toward him. There was surprise in her eyes, but also something warmer, something she quickly tried to hide. He closed the car door and stood facing her for a brief moment, as if organizing his thoughts. The countryside air felt cooler now, carrying the scent of earth and straw. He suddenly realized how different this world was from the polished halls of his family estate. "I wasn't comfortable leaving you here alone," he said directly. His voice was calm, but it held a firmness she had never heard before. There was no trace of the distant authoritative tone he used in business meetings. This was personal. "I'll be fine," she replied with a small smile. "I'm used to it." "That's not the point," he interrupted gently. The words surprised both of them. He stepped a little closer, lowering his voice. "It's New Year. Everyone should be with family. And I don't want you here alone." For a brief second, silence stretched between them. The wind rustled the lanterns above, causing them to sway softly. Tieu Lac felt her cheeks warm. She had always seen him as composed, rational, someone who made decisions based on logic. But now, standing in front of her, he seemed different, almost nervous. "I want you to come back to the city with me, spend New Year with my family." Her breath caught. With his family? That invitation carried more weight than the words themselves. It wasn't simply about safety. It meant stepping into his world, a world of wealth, expectations, and tradition, a world she had never imagined entering. "You don't have to decide because you feel pressured," he added more softly, misinterpreting her silence. "If you'd rather stay, I'll go," she said suddenly, lifting her eyes to meet his. There was a softness in her voice, but also courage. For a split second, relief flashed across his face before he quickly masked it with composure. Yet the warmth in his eyes betrayed him. "Pack what you need. We'll leave before it gets dark." As she turned to go inside, she felt something new blooming in her chest, something fragile but undeniable. This invitation wasn't just about spending a holiday together, it was the beginning of stepping into each other's lives in a way neither of them had dared before. Behind her, he remained standing in the courtyard, watching the lanterns sway above. For the first time, bringing someone home for the new year didn't feel like a family obligation. It felt like hope. The car moved steadily along the highway once more, but this time everything felt different. The city lights shimmered in the distance like scattered stars awaiting to welcome the new year. Inside the vehicle, the atmosphere was softer, warmer, no longer heavy with unspoken worry. Tieu Lac sat quietly beside him in the back seat. She had changed into a simple yet elegant dress, her hair neatly tied, her hands resting nervously on her lap. Though she tried to appear calm, her heart was racing. She was no longer just heading toward the city, she was stepping into his world. The CEO noticed her silence. "Nervous?" he asked gently. She gave a small, honest smile. "A little." He studied her expression for a moment. The reflection of passing streetlights danced across her face, highlighting both her courage and her uncertainty. He suddenly realized how significant this moment was, not just for her, but for him as well. "I don't want you to feel pressured," he said quietly. "If at any point you feel uncomfortable, you can tell me. I'll handle everything." She turned to look at him, surprised by the softness in his tone. This wasn't the commanding leader who negotiated billion-dollar contracts without hesitation. This was a man concerned about her comfort, about her feelings. "Why are you doing this?" she asked softly. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked ahead at the road, as if gathering the courage to speak honestly. "Because I care," he finally said. The words were simple. No grand declarations, no dramatic promises, but they carried a sincerity that made her chest tighten. He continued, his voice low but steady. "At first, I told myself it was responsibility. Then I thought it was just concern for your safety. But when I imagined celebrating New Year without knowing you were safe, it didn't feel right. I didn't want to start a new year without you being part of it." The car fell into a quiet stillness after his confession. Outside, fireworks were already bursting in the distance, small flashes of color lighting up the sky in early celebration. Tieu Lac felt her nervousness slowly transform into warmth. She had never expected someone like him, powerful, respected, surrounded by endless choices, to look at her with such intention. "Meeting your family during the new year, does that mean something special?" She hesitated. He turned to face her fully this time. "Yes," he answered without hesitation, "it does." In his world, bringing someone home for the Lunar New Year was never casual. It meant acknowledgement. It meant seriousness. It meant that person held importance beyond temporary emotion. "I don't introduce people to my family unless they matter," he added quietly. Her breath caught again. The tension between them was no longer uncertainty, it was anticipation, a shared awareness that something had shifted permanently. As the car entered the city center, bright decorations lined the streets. Red banners fluttered in the night breeze. Children laughed on sidewalks, holding sparklers in their hands. The festive energy filled the air, but inside the car, there was something even more powerful unfolding, a silent agreement between two hearts. The CEO reached over, hesitating for only a second before gently taking her hand. His grip was warm and steady. "You're not alone anymore," he said softly. She looked at their joined hands, then back at him. For the first time since leaving the farm, her anxiety completely faded. Maybe this new year would indeed be different, not because of the grand mansion awaiting them, not because of the elegant dinner or the family traditions, but because tonight marked the beginning of something real, something chosen, not arranged. As the car turned into the long driveway of his family estate, fireworks exploded brilliantly across the sky, illuminating the night in red and gold. A new year was arriving, and with it, a love that had quietly found its courage.